Hey guys, it's Katie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to do my favorite George R.R. Martin quotes. I recently did a video on my top 12 favorite book quotes, and 2 of those quotes of my top 10 favorite book quotes were George R.R. Martin quotes. But I have a whole slew of quotes that I love that he has written. I think he has some great, paragraphs describing things, but he also has some really good one-liners. I figured I'd take the time to share with you my top 12 favorite George R.R. Martin quotes. Disclaimer, these are only going to be from Game of Thrones. I know that he has a few other books out, The Ice Dragon and Dream Songs and stuff like that, but I'm going to do just A Song of Ice and Fire. Another disclaimer, the 2 that I already put on my top 12 favorite book quotes video, those 2 aren't going to be on this one, so if you want to know what those are, you're going to have to watch that video. First one I'm going to share with you guys is actually one of the most liked quotes on Goodreads, which I think is pretty cool. And it's from A Dance with Dragons, and I believe it's a Bran chapter, but Jojen is the one who actually speaks. So this is one of my all-time favorite quotes, and I think it says a lot about George R.R. Martin, and it says a lot about readers in general, so you probably know what this is, but I'm going to read it to you anyways. "A reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies," said Jojen. "The man who never reads lives only once." I mean, that explains it all, because I know if you're watching this video, you probably love reading, and I love reading, and I feel like I've lived, at least 100 lives already, so I really like that quote. I think it's a really good quote. It's from A Dance with Dragons. The next quote I have on here is from A Storm of Swords, and it is from a Dany chapter, and it is Daenerys that is speaking. And this one's just, I believe this sums up Daenerys as a character, but it's also like a pretty powerful moment for her. "Woman," she chuckled, "is that meant to insult me? I would return the slap if I took you for a man." Like, girl. And then she goes on saying, "I am Daenerys Stormborn of House Targaryen, breaker of chains," and her 8-page title. But the next quote I have on here is also from A Storm of Swords, and this is in a Jon chapter, but Ygritte is actually speaking. "You are mine," she whispered, "mine as I am yours, and if we die, we die. All men must die, Jon Snow, but first we'll live." I love that. I think that's so great. Ygritte is such a cool character, and I really like that quote. The next quote I have on here is a Catelyn quote, and it's from A Clash of Kings. And this isn't something that, is like the be-all, end-all of quotes, but I think it really describes Catelyn as a character. And if you've read the books, you kind of know how Catelyn's character is different from the show in not the best of ways. But I really like this quote. This is from A Clash of Kings, and I think it really is important in understanding Catelyn and her character. "I want to weep," she thought. "I want to be comforted. I'm so tired of being strong. I want to be foolish and frightened for once. Just for a small while. That's all. A day. An hour." I really like that. I think that everyone needs to let themselves, not be strong, not put on this strong front for an hour or 2 a day. I think it's very important to kind of just be tired and not have to put on that strong front. So that quote I think is really important for Catelyn, and I think it's really important for that whole storyline. So my next quote is a Cersei quote from A Clash of Kings. "Love is a poison. A sweet poison, yes, but it will kill you all the same." I just think I love that quote. And I think that coming from Cersei is just on point. The next quote I have on here is a Tyrion quote. And this is a pretty well-known Tyrion quote, I think. But it is from A Clash of Kings. "Sleep is good and books are better." And I think that goes along with, that very famous Tyrion quote of "a mind needs books like a sword needs a whetstone." I love Tyrion's relationship with books, and we see it in the show, but in A Song of Ice and Fire series, he has such a great relationship with knowledge and learning, and he just does all that he can to absorb all of this knowledge and know things, which I think is really cool. And I just think that's funny where he's just like, sleep is good, but books are better, which I personally agree with. The next quote I have on here is an Arya quote, and it is from A Game of Thrones, and it's a very simple one. Fear cuts deeper than swords. Love it, always. I want that on my wall. This next quote is from A Clash of Kings, and I believe it's from a Tyrion chapter, but I can't remember who said it. I know Varys says it, Lord Varys says it in the show, but I could not find who said it, and I cannot remember who said it in the books, if it was Varys or someone else. But this is such a good quote. Power resides only where men believe it resides. I think that's so true. I think that's so, so true. If you believe that person to have power, then they get power. I think that's so great. The next quote that I have here for you is from A Clash of Kings, and I actually don't know what chapter this is from or who says it. I want to say it's Varys again, but I did not actually look this one up. Sorry, guys. People often claim to hunger for the truth, but seldom like the taste when it is served up. I think that's a true statement, a very, very true statement. My next quote is from A Game of Thrones, and I think this is from an Eddard chapter, a Ned chapter, but again, I didn't look it up. Oops. Some old wounds never truly heal, and bleed again at the slightest word. So good. It's so good. The next quote I have on here is actually from A Game of Thrones as well, and this is a Jon chapter, but I believe it's Tyrion speaking. Most men would rather deny a hard truth than face it. True. That's so true. He writes such true statements. I can't. The last quote I have here for you guys is a Sansa quote. And I'm sorry for my pronunciation of her name. I'm from upstate New York, so I have that hard A. So it's Sansa. Can you hear it? Sansa. Oh, it's so ugly. Sansa. Anyways, I love this quote. This is, I believe, one of the most quoted passages from Sansa. And it is, "My skin has turned to porcelain, to ivory, to steel." That is from A Storm of Swords, and that is one of the pivotal, I think, turning points in Sansa's storyline. And I think that a lot of people misinterpret that quote because she's saying my skin has turned to porcelain, to ivory, to steel. Yes, it's a metaphor for her transformation, but I feel like a lot of people interpret it as now all of a sudden she's going to use this steel as a weapon and she's going to start manipulating people. And, you know, she's learned the game and all of that stuff, which is true. I think that Sansa's metaphor from porcelain to ivory to steel, she's going to use this steel as more of a defense. Like, she's not going to be naive anymore, and she's not going to be as trusting anymore. I don't really see Sansa as becoming, you know, like Cersei. She's not like that at all. I could go on about this forever because I am one of Sansa's, like, #1 defenders, even since, like, season 1 or 2 of the show, ever since I read the books, and it's just, she gets so much unnecessary hate. I love her so much. Sansa is one of the most interesting characters on Game of Thrones, and I really like this quote and how it shows her transformation internally and externally, and I think that this quote really says a lot about her and about her character, and I just love her so much. And yeah, so that's what I've got for you. So that's it. Those are my top 12 favorite George R. R. Martin quotes from the Song of Ice and Fire series. Probably have like 800 billion more, but those are the ones that really resonate with me at this point, and I hope you guys enjoyed them. Let me know what your favorite quotes are from the series. I would really like to, if you guys would comment and let me know, because George has so many interesting quotes that I may have overlooked or something like that. It was really cool. So thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll have another video up soon for you guys. Bye! Also, bonus quote is whenever George R. R. Martin goes on an interview, he like always gets asked a question about how he writes such complex and interesting women. And one of my favorite ones is you could tell he was like kind of getting fed up with that question. And one of my favorites, you can find this online somewhere, but he just goes, "Well, I've always considered women to be people." And then he does his little giggle. It's so funny. It's so funny. You guys should watch that. But yeah, that's a bonus quote. Bonus quote.